Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today's review is for Best Month Ever. Now I've actually had this in my library for, I'm not sure, maybe a couple of weeks, and I know it's a fairly new release. And I was actually sent a copy of this by the developers to review, and to be honest, I just haven't had time to get round to fitting it into the schedule to review it. But I have now played the game, and what is Best Month Ever? Well, this is a narrative-heavy, adventure-type game that focuses on the relationship between a mother and her son. And it is set in the 60s, 1969 to be specific. And it focuses on this young mother who is taking her young son cross-country for them to kind of bond, meet family, all this kind of stuff. And there's a reason for this. Essentially, the mother is ill. She doesn't have a lot of time left, and she wants to kind of do this for her son to give them like the best month ever sort of thing, for him to have these lovely memories. Which might seem like a bit of a depressing subject matter, and to be honest, you're not far wrong there. This game actually deals with some very, very dark and serious issues, and some very adult themes. Things such as racism, sexual abuse, a whole array of things that you will be confronted with here in this game. And in actual fact, when the game starts, it kind of gives you a warning early on to kind of say, you know, there's some explicit content within this game. Just be aware of what you're kind of going into play here. But I was deeply impressed with this game in many, many ways. Now, when I say game, for those of you out there that actually like to pick up a controller and play a game, I get some real excitement from playing a game on a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever. This probably will not be a game for you, because strictly speaking, it's not really a game. It's like a visual novel for the most part. There are aspects of this game where you will take direct control of your character by kind of walking them around the environment, looking at certain things. At times, it feels like a point-and-click adventure. And then at other times, there'll be some quick-time events for you to take part in, like throwing rocks at certain things or so on and so forth. It is very, very light touch approach. This is very much, like I've said, a narrative-heavy adventure with some very deep moral decisions for you to make. And that's where the real core of this gameplay lies. You can kind of, in conversations, you can make certain choices. Some of those choices will essentially determine what kind of man your boy will grow up to be. So you can, for example, choose to rob a certain place or rob a certain person, which will give you an advantage in the early part, obviously the short term, but the long-term effects of that is it could have a detrimental effect on your young son. So it's up to you what kind of decisions you make in the game, and it's my understanding that I think there's 9 endings. I may be wrong on that, but there's a lot of endings here for you to potentially discover while playing the game. So there's quite a lot of replayability here, and the game itself is not what you would describe as a lengthy game. I think the first playthrough on this, I completed it in... It's hard because I didn't do it in one sitting. I think I did it... It was about 3 or 4 hours, I think it took me to complete it. So it'll certainly take you less than that on each playthrough following that, if you really do want to replay the game. And I do think there is some replayability factor here. The writing here, I think, is exceptional. It's shining the light on a lot of issues, and I think it's actually quite brave as well in some of the writing and some of the subject matters that it is touching on here. It really did take me back, you know, in regards to some of the language that you hear in the game and some of the subject matters that it's dealing with. And it deals with them in a very mature way as well, which really surprised me. And what I kept thinking about, obviously, because I do quite a lot of film reviews on this channel, I kept thinking about if this was made into, like, you know, a really a really good like indie movie, you could kind of see it sweeping the Oscars almost, because this game essentially is a road movie, between a mother and her young son. And along the way, you will meet, like I say, a lot of different characters and go on lots of different escapades and adventures. Some of them good, some of them bad. And all I kept thinking is, my God, this would make a great, great movie. So, for those of you out there who are not really into these narrative adventures, then there's nothing here for you, really. If you're not into heavy, serious subject matters in your games, this certainly isn't for you. For those of you out there who are looking for something a little bit more mature, a little bit more gritty, I suppose, then what we've got here is a little bit of a gem of a game. That honestly, I was really, really enthralled with while I was playing through it. Yes, the gameplay mechanics are almost non-existent, really. Occasionally you'll get to drive a car. Occasionally, you'll get to throw something. This, that, and the other is very, very light touch approach, absolutely. And the game is nothing particularly special to look at. The art design is very clear to see. The environments all look okay and all that kind of stuff. But there are certain times in the game where it's certainly heavy on the glitches, I suppose. I think that's fair to say. And there's some stability issues here and there, even though the game has never crashed with me while I've played it. There's nothing like that, but it's a little bit rough around the edges, I think is a fair statement, in regards graphically, certainly, in some of the stability issues. You'll see quite a few glitches here and there when you kind of, look under the surface. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, this is certainly a game to consider. I'm really pleased that I got round to playing this one, because initially, while I was obviously delighted that it got sent to me to review, it wasn't a game I was like itching to play or anything like that. But I have to say, I really did enjoy my time playing it. So while this is not what you would describe as like the most enthralling thing you'll ever play, I think the approach to telling this story, I do think, deserves an awful lot of credit. And there's definitely an awful lot of replayability here if you want to get all those different endings. And if you want to get a lot of trophies as well. I mean, you pick trophies up very, very quickly and easily playing this game as well. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10, mainly for the writing and the subject matter. In regards to some of the glitches and some of the graphical issues here and there, it does let it down a little bit, but it's definitely worth checking out, guys, if you're looking for something a little bit different to play. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.